When it comes to overall punishment in Tekken 8, Law has some pretty solid options starting from his 10 frame Punisher or his fastest Punisher all the way up to his 15 frame Punisher or his slowest Punisher, and this applies to both his standing punishment and his while standing punishment as well. Hey guys, GamerNemy here, and today I'm going to give you guys everything you need to know about how to fully punish using martial law in Tekken 8. At 10 frames, Law has 112, which is his fastest Punisher. If you're a beginner, 10 frames basically means his fastest punish, so everything that's regarded as punishable while standing can be punished by 112. So 112 is triple high, the last hit can be ducked, so you should be careful. It does 22 damage and it leaves you at +6, which is a huge advantage. And the best thing about his 112 punish is the fact that it leaves you in DSS, which is a stance that Law has. You can manually enter DSS by pressing 1+2, but you can go into DSS by holding forward after 112 or inputting back forward for the sweaty guys, and it will take you into DSS stance. Now you want to go into DSS stance because it's actually more plus. It's +6 if you don't go into stance, but it's +14 if you do decide to go into DSS. And if you decide to go to DSS, he has some pretty strong moves. After this, he has a counter hit 2, frame trap, right? He has a forward 1 which can take you into hit. He has a law. If they don't respect you, you can go for the law and stuff like that. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to stay in neutral or go into stance, because if you stay in neutral, you still have some good stuff to throw out. After, you have stuff like down forward 2, right? You have back 4, which will completely counter every side step. Like, this is a frame, these are all frame trap examples I'm giving you guys, right? 112 into back 4 is a very good frame trap. You have 112 into down forward 2. It's a frame trap as well, but it can be stepped, so be very careful. So it's really up to you to decide if you want to go to DSS or not, but I preferably love going into DSS because DSS has way stronger options in my opinion. Although in neutral you have access to that down forward 2, which is really good, right? A very strong frame trap. However, it can be stepped both sides. So 112 is a very good punish, right? Decent damage and good frame data as well. Sets up some very strong frame traps. Now, like I said, it's his fastest punish, so you really want to use this against moves that are jab punishable. If something is considered jab punishable, then 112 is a punish that you should be using as a low player. So 10 frame punisher, very good as far as 10 frame punishers go. For 12 frames, Law has 3-3, which is without a doubt one of the best 12 frame punishers in the game. This thing is amazing. It has good range, it has good damage, and most of all, it was splats, which is just insane. Having a 12 frame punisher that was splats is crazy. So being a high, the second hit can be ducked, so keep that in mind. You only want to throw this out when you're sure that you will get the punish. Throwing this out randomly will get you launched, so always keep that in mind. So this will be your go-to punisher for the hop kicks. Every hop kick in the game is at least -12 and below, right? So 3-4 is your optimal punishment for hop kicks, but of course, if you're a beginner, you can still go for 112. It is a punish, it will hit, but it's not optimal. So you want to be optimal in Tekken as much as you can when it comes to punishment, and this is why you want to go for 3-4 as discussed earlier. So like I said, the best part about this punisher is that it was splats for some big boy damage, as you can see, bro. Like at the wall, this thing is deadly, right? So you want to be optimal. The worst thing you can do at the wall is doing 112 when you can instead go for 3-4, right? So always optimize your punishment. So at 14 frames, unfortunately, Law does not get a launcher. However, he does have one of the hardest hitting punishers in the game in 3+4-4. So this does 40 damage. A 14 frame punisher that does 40 damage is ridiculous. It hits so hard, it hurts. So it's a mid-high. So just like 3-4, you don't just want to randomly throw it out. It will get ducked and you will get punished. So you only want to throw this out if you're sure that it's going to hit, right? It's sort of the biggest risk when it comes to Law's 14 frame punisher. When you delay by the slightest or just land the punisher late, you're gonna get punished for it, right? You have to make hard reads. Make sure that this punisher is always on hit and not on block, right? Because top players are gonna duck and punish you. So 14 framer does 40 damage and is pretty ridiculous. Now the thing about 3+4-4 is that it's a multi-purpose punisher. You don't just use it for as a 14 frame Punisher. You can use it for Whiff Punishment, which we'll talk about later in the video, and War Carry as well. It's amazing for War Carry, right? In one of the combos that he has, it does so much damage and it takes them so far. Like, the War Carry is amazing on this move, right? It feels good. It's just an awesome Punisher, right? It's an awesome Punisher. So 14 framer, Law does not get a launcher, which sucks, I know, but he still has one of the best Punishers in the game, so I really suggest you use it as much as you can. Now, if you're a beginner and you find yourself dropping this Punisher more so than often or doing it late and you're getting punished for it, stick to the previous Punishers I've told you about. So you can use 3-4 if you want, you can use 1-1-2. But like I said, you want to try by all means in this game to be optimal, right? Optimization yields the best results. So over time, be in the lab, practice, and eventually optimize that punishment. -14, always go for 3+4. At 15 frames is where launch punishable moves begin, and this is where the launchers come into play. Now, these are self-explanatory. Law has two. He has a down forward 2 which launches and a hop kick up forward 4 which launches as well. So now there are kind of two different scenarios in which you want to use these two moves. So let's start with down forward 2. So down forward 2 is a 15 frame launcher. It won't launch crouchers because it's safe, right? It's a safe move that you can use in neutral. Like, you can use it defensively as well. You don't just use it as a punish. It's amazing for keep out, and this is what makes it's a good move. I don't know what else to tell you. Down forward tools in this game are some of the best tools that a character can have, and luckily Law is one of those characters that gets to have the privilege of having the cheap ass down forward too. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Like I said earlier, it does 12 damage, you know, does decent damage for combo damage, so you don't expect anything crazy from this. Then we have the hop kick. Now, the hop kick does 2 more points more of damage. It does 14 damage, whilst down forward 2 does 12 damage. The difference between down forward 2 and hop kick as well is another difference is the fact that the hop kick is unsafe. As you can see here, it's -13, so you will get punished for it. So down forward 2 is generally a safer option if you're also using it in neutral, but as a punisher you want to go for up forward 4 because it does 2 more points of damage. But again, this is only if you're trying to be like really optimal, right? Either option is fine, but for you guys that want to be optimal, maximize your entire damage, and up forward 4 is the option that you should go for if you're trying to launch something. Okay, so now let's get into Law's while standing punishment. So the principle with while standing punishment is basically the same as his standing punishment, so I'll kind of cruise through this, starting with his while standing force. So you can think of this as the equivalent of his 1-1-2 punish when standing. So this is basically his fastest punisher from crouch. It gives you +7, and you can also go into DSS by holding forward or back forward as well. So basically everything I said about 1-1-2 applies to while standing 4 as well. Your basic punisher for Laws that are generally not that risky, they are basically -12, -11. That's the punish that you're going to be using for such Laws. So simple and straightforward. And for his second punish, we skip to his while standing 1-2, which is a 13 frame punisher. So Law does not have a 12 frame punisher from crouching. It skips from 11 to 13, which is pretty decent because while standing 4 is still good, but while standing 1-2 is amazing. As you can see, it does 35 damage and it knocks down as well. It's a mid-high, as we've seen kind of like a theme now with Law's punishers like 3-4, 3+4-4. So if you miss this punisher, the opponent is going to duck and they are going to launch you, so be very careful. But being a punisher that knocks down, that means it was splats as well for some big boy damage. As you can see, you can get up to like 90+ damage. It's ridiculous. It's an insane punisher, one of the best in the game as well. And lastly, his 15 frame launcher. So Law has no 14 frame launcher. Remember, there are some Laws that are -14 and there are some characters that have 14 frame launchers. Unfortunately, Law does not have that. For 14 frames, you will still use outstanding 1-2. So at 15 frames is where Law can actually launch his opponent. So he does have outstanding 2, power to the people, the classic outstanding 2. So basically self-explanatory. It's your launcher, boom, big ass damage, 20 damage launcher. So now as for Whiff Punishment, so if anyone that does not understand what Whiff Punishment is, it's basically punishing someone for throwing something in the open, right? So this is very bland and very generic. There is no one specific move that you want to use as a Whiff Punisher. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on how big of a move the opponent throws out in the open. Does it have so much recovery? How fast is the move? you know, it depends on the range at which that whiff has occurred, right? So for something that does like long range whiff punishment, 3+4 as I discussed earlier is your go-to. It has the most range when it comes to lows whiff punishment. You can use forward 2-3 as well, stuff like that. So it's up to you, right? The closer the opponent is, the faster the whiff punisher 2 that you want to use. Down forward 2 is a good whiff punisher for close range whiffs, you know, hope kick as well. So it's basically, so it depends on the read that you, the player, makes and not the tools that the character has. So there you have it, guys, a summarized guide on what you need to know if you're trying to punish with martial law. Punishment is pretty straightforward. I just advise you spend a lot of time in practice mode. You have to have some good knowledge on other characters' punishable tools. It's something you have to lab, guys. You just won't go into the game and be a god at punishment. It takes time, it takes practice. Trust the process, especially for you guys that are new to the game. So with that said, if you enjoyed my law video, why not check out my other punishment guide, including Jin KAZAMA. So GG boys, may the frame data be ever in your favor.